How to make new friends after 60. Because independence and connection are not opposites. Making new friends after 60 can feel really difficult, not because you have forgotten how to connect, but because the structure that used to create friendships for you is often gone. Things like work, school, children, busy routines, repeated contact. And without those built in environments, connection can start to feel much less automatic, but it is still very much possible for you. In fact, it's probably more possible than you think if you stop expecting it to happen the way it used to. 1. Stop waiting for friendship to just happen. This is one of the biggest mindset shifts. Earlier in life, friendship often happened by accident. You saw the same people every day. You were thrown together by circumstance. There was built in repetition. After 60, that often disappears, which means friendship usually becomes more intentional. Not forced, not unnatural, just intentional. You may need to go to the same place more than once, start one more conversation than what might feel comfortable, follow up instead of assuming if it's meant to happen, it will. Friendship later in life often begins with small initiatives. 2. Stop looking for instant chemistry. This matters. A lot of people meet someone once, don't feel an immediate spark, and assume, well, I guess that's not my person. But friendship doesn't always begin with instant closeness. Sometimes it begins with ease, familiarity, consistency, one decent conversation that slowly becomes another. After 60, a good friendship may feel less dramatic than it did earlier in life, and that's okay. You're not looking for intensity, you're looking for fit. 3. Go where repeated contact happens naturally. This is one of the most practical things you can do. Friendship is much harder to build in random one-time interactions. It's much easier when you keep seeing the same people. That's why repeated environments matter. Think a weekly class, a walking group, a volunteer role, a community event you attend regularly, the same cafe, same time, same day, a faith group, club, or discussion group. The goal isn't to network, it's to create familiarity. Because familiarity lowers awkwardness, and lowered awkwardness makes connection more likely. 4. Talk a little more than feels necessary, not a lot more, just a little. A lot of potential friendships stall because both people stay too polite, too brief, too surface level. You don't need to overshare, but you may need to stretch slightly beyond nice weather, good to see you, take care. Try asking one more follow-up question, sharing one small personal detail, lingering for 2 extra minutes after the event ends, saying, I always enjoy talking with you. Friendship usually needs a little more oxygen than people think. 5. Be willing to be the one who follows up. This is where many people hesitate. They have a good conversation with someone, then wait, and assume that if the other person doesn't reach out, it means they weren't interested. Not necessarily. People are busy, people are distracted, people are unsure too. Sometimes friendship grows because one person says something simple like, I enjoyed talking with you. Would you like to grab coffee sometime? I'm planning to come back next week. Maybe I'll see you there. If you ever want to continue this conversation, I'd enjoy that. That's not desperation, that's clarity. 6. Don't confuse independence with emotional distance. This is especially important if you've worked hard to become comfortable on your own. Independence is a strength, being able to go places alone, enjoy your own company, build a full life without waiting on others. That matters. But sometimes independence quietly turns into distance, not because you want it to, but because you stop letting people in. Connection still requires openness, not dependence, not neediness, just openness. You can be deeply independent and still let friendship matter. Those two things do not cancel each other out. 7. Let friendship look different than it used to. Friendship after 60 may not look like it did at 25. It may not be constant, it may not be spontaneous, it may not involve talking every day, and that doesn't make it any less real. At this stage of life, friendship might look like one person you walk with every Thursday, someone you text occasionally but trust deeply, a regular coffee with someone who gets it, a small circle instead of a large one. Companionship built slowly, quietly, and steadily. It may be simpler, but sometimes simpler is stronger. 8. Focus on becoming a familiar presence. This is one of the most underrated ways friendship begins. Not by trying to be impressive, not by forcing deep connection, but by becoming someone people recognize as warm, steady, and easy to talk to. That can be as simple as showing up consistently, remembering someone's name, asking about something they mentioned last time, smiling first, being easy to approach. You don't have to win people over. You just have to become familiar enough for trust to grow. 9. Don't assume it's too late. This may be the most important one. A lot of times, people have an unspoken belief that deep friendship belongs to earlier decades. That by 60 or 70, most people already have their people, their routines, their circles. But many people at this stage of life are quietly asking the exact same question you are. How do I build real connection now? They may not say it out loud, but they're wondering, which means you are not the only one reaching. And that matters, because it means this is not a closed door, it's just a different one. I know this might seem difficult for some, especially if you're anything like me. I'm an introvert, I have social anxiety, and I truly value my independence and alone time. Yet I realize that it's important even for me to make and maintain friendships at this point in my life, especially since I have already outlived most of my friends. I'm starting small by getting more involved at my church. Making new friends after 60 isn't about becoming more social in a performative way. It's about becoming more available to connection, a little more intentional, a little more open, a little more willing to go first. You don't need a huge circle. You don't need instant chemistry. You don't need to become someone new. You just need places where connection can repeat and the willingness to stay in the room long enough for it to grow. Because independence and connection aren't opposites. In many ways, the stronger you become in your own company, the more honestly you can connect with someone else. In the next video, we'll talk about something that often gets in the way of all of this: how to stop overthinking social situations after 60 so connection feels lighter, not like something you have to get exactly right. Let me know if you're interested in this topic. Thanks for stopping by.